Vice President Joe Biden's 2010 tax return can be found at the White House website as a PDF, which can be downloaded. According to the return on page 1, the Bidens reported an adjusted gross income of nearly $380,000 for 2010. And what's immediately striking about this return is how modest the income of the Vice President was for 2010. As a public figure of his stature, one would expect to see additional income amounts from either investments or from Schedule E or from Schedule D, but that's not the case with Mr. Biden. Vice President Biden has mentioned in previous speeches that this is what happens when you spend your life in public service. So, looking further at the return, we can see that most of the Biden's income is from their wages. And according to the detail on page 17 of the return, of course, Mr. Biden has his salary as Vice President of the United States, and Dr. Biden, his spouse, receives $82,000 per year as a professor at a college. Now, back to page 1, just to further illustrate how small the investments are of the Bidens. They report here $4,000 of interest income. And if we assume a 4% interest yield on the underlying investments, this means that their underlying portfolio is only $100,000, which again is not significant. And also you'll notice that we have absolutely no dividends here, meaning that most likely the case is that the Bidens do not own mutual funds or common stocks outside of any kind of pension accounts. Continuing further down, we do have pension income and Social Security benefits, and also on Schedule E we'll see that the Bidens did rent out their residence. Continuing to page 2, we can see that the total tax due for the Bidens was $86,000, which if you divide that by the income number here, you arrive at an effective tax rate of 23%. Now continuing to Schedule A, you'll notice that the Bidens are still paying a considerable amount of mortgage interest. And if we can assume a 4% rate of interest on the mortgage, then $30,000 of interest paid means that the mortgage debt is still probably at least $750,000. Continuing further, the Bidens made very modest charitable gifts. The $4,400 here represents only about 1% of their income. Continuing down to Schedule E, we can see that they rented out real estate, presumed to be their primary residence in Delaware. And continuing to the 6251, the Bidens were unfortunately hit by AMT. Their regular tax liability was $78,000. Their AMT was higher, and therefore they paid an additional amount for the AMT. Continuing further, we can see that the Bidens did employ at least one household employee, and they paid a modest $3,600 for the year. Okay, so that's the return for Vice President Biden and his spouse, and again, this can be found at the White House website.